Welcome back. In this lecture, we'll start with actual IR, actual international relations, and understanding of international politics first, and then international relations. Or we can use them interchangeably. So we have to understand what is international politics or what is international relations, right? These are two very similar terms, but IR is study of international politics, right? IR is study of international politics. International politics does not mean that they are utterly different. Of the discipline of IR, the evolution of discipline of IR is coincided with evolution of international politics, right? Geopolitics. International politics is not used very often. Is used. What is geopolitics? Of course, we'll understand. But evolution of discipline of IR closely coincided with evolution of international politics. What is international politics? Is again politics among nations. Politics among nations, and international politics has been divided into two phases, right? Two phases of international politics. Two phases of international politics, right? What are these two phases? The first phase is Westphalian. The second phase is post Westphalian, right? What is Westphalian or what is post Westphalian? We should understand that first, right? It becomes very important to understand what is Westphalian, right? I will tell you a small story. It is not really related for discipline, but still, for external knowledge, you just understand what I'm trying to say. So Westphalia is a place, right? It is a place. Westphalia is a place. It is a place in Germany. It is actually there are two different places in Germany. It is a place. If you have gone through your theory of your world history, you must understand 30 years war, right? 30 years war. What is 30 years war? 30 years war which happened in Europe, right? It was almost like World War, right? And 80 years war, 80, between Spain and Dutch Republic, between Spain and Dutch Republic. Westphalia is a place. Westphalia is a place in Germany. It is not really a place, it is a region in Germany. It is a historical region in Germany. So what Westphalia signifies, right? Or better to say, what Treaty of Westphalia signifies. Treaty of Westphalia, which happened in 1648, right? It signifies what what it signifies what Hobbes wanted to signify, right? It signifies what Hobbes wanted to signify. It signifies nations that nations are free. Nations are free to conduct. Nations are free to conduct its affairs within and outside the country, right? This is all there is to explain with respect to Treaty of Westphalia. right? And this is a very good interlinkage you can write with Hobbes. In Hobbes, just mention that Hobbesian view was reflected in Treaty of Westphalia, that nations are free to conduct its affairs within and outside the country, and sovereign sovereign state became main organizing principle of European politics. Right? Treaty of Westphalia is about sovereignty of nations. It is about sovereignty of nations. Right? It is mainly about saying that state will control its relations and internal affairs. Right? What Treaty of Westphalia is essentially about, right? It is about sovereignty. Sovereignty, as we have seen, there is monistic theory of sovereignty, there is pluralist theory of sovereignty. Right? Sovereignty, we have understood what is sovereignty. Right? Treaty of Westphalia is absolutely about sovereignty, whereby it is said that each state would have absolute control over its own religion, over its own religion and internal affairs, and no external power could interfere. No external power could interfere. This was the core idea between in Treaty of Westphalia. Right? Again, try to understand what specific point I am trying to say. With Westphalia or Treaty of Westphalia, that nations became sovereign to operate, to to make relations with different nations. Right? And I'll start with Westphalian world order. What does Westphalian mean? Westphalian mean that states are sovereign with respect to internal and external affairs. Right? States are sovereign with respect to internal and external affairs. When states are sovereign with respect to internal and external affairs, how such state will interact with each other is Westphalian world order. Right? This is state-centric world order. And to explain this Westphalian world order, there is this model which explains this. There is this framework which explains this, which is Billiard's Ball Model. Billiard's Ball Model. Right? If you have played pool, if you have played snooker, mini pool, right? The table games, you must have had opportunity to handle pool balls. Very solid, not hollow, and really heavy, right? Really heavy. So let's say I am making these 5 pool balls. These 5 pool balls. There is a reason why I'm filling them up, right? I could have made them hollow, but there is a reason I am filling them up. There is a reason behind that. You will shortly understand. So these are 5 pool balls, not really round, but again, you have to make peace with it, not an artist. So these 5 pool balls, they interact each other, they interact with each other, right? They collide with each other as we hit by the cue, as we hit them by the solid white ball, they will scatter here and there, but after a point of time, they will find an equilibrium, right? They will interact with each other, they will collide with each other, They will collide with each other, but they will collide with each other as an entity, right? Whatever happens inside the ball, it is not related to, it is not known to outside world. So what is billiard ball model, right? Billiard ball model assumes states to be free standing balls in game of billiards, right? Pool or snooker, right? They hit each other, they collide with each other, they hit, they collide, and they try to find equilibrium. They hit, they collide, they try to find equilibrium, right? Right? And they are solid from inside. They are solid from inside. They are solid, right? Nothing can enter them. Nothing can enter. Nothing, nothing, nothing can enter. Nothing can exit within, right? Within. So what I mean by nothing can enter, nothing can exit, I mean individuals living in the society, in the country, right? When we assume our model to be billiards ball model, we inherently assume, right? We inherently assume nothing can enter, nothing can exit, and there is no interaction between individuals, which means there is no interaction between societies, right? Only gateway of interaction is states, right? Is state. States try to states try to reach equilibrium, right? There is no centralizing force to balance them, right? They hit each other, they find place. Again a cue hits, okay, again a cue hits, again the cue ball hits. When the cue ball hits, again there is new equilibrium, right? States try to reach equilibrium, and they, when there is no centralizing force, the principle of equilibrium is self-help. What is self-help? You will understand when we understand the topic itself. What is self-help? Helping yourself. When state help themselves, it is self-help. When state build their military might themselves, when state their increase their economic standing themselves, when state increase their soft power, when state increase their hard power, it is self-help, helping yourself. When state help themselves, that is self-help, right? This is Westphalian world order. This is billiard ball model of world order, where states are sovereign and states interact with each other, not the societies, not the societies, right? States interact, not not societies. This is the core of Westphalian world order, right? Going ahead, there is another model which is right now, which is very famous because of globalization. Post Westphalian world order. Post Westphalian world order. It is not state centric. Post Westphalian world order is not state centric. It is society centric. This happened mostly after Cold War, right? Post Cold War. This is development of post Cold War. Society centric. What does it mean by society centric? Go to globalization. What is globalization? It is the territorialization, right? The territory, which is the primary factor in explaining state, in explaining nation, globalization breaks the myth of territory. You can get from India to America in less than 24 hours, right? Deterritorialization, freedom of movement, right? Society centric model assumes that states are not only entity of interaction, right? There is society, there are individuals, right? Students go from India to US, actors go for their shows, comedians go for their shows, right? Sports happen across the states. There is constant interaction. There is constant interaction. When there is constant interaction, there is movement of people, of ideas, of capital. When there is movement of people, ideas, and of capital, what do you find when there is such movement? You you find interdependence. When such interdependence happen, state capacity to control interaction goes down, right? However hard state can try, it does not happen, right? It does not happen. I will try to explain you how this happens, right? When so world order is society centric, right? When world order is society centric, what happens and how state capacity to control interaction goes down, right? Right, most of you who are on this lecture, who are studying with me, will have some of their friends go to US, some of their friends go to Europe, right? Some of their friends have gone to Russia. There is some or other friend of us who has gone to other nation to study. When they have gone there, you must have NRI relatives and all that. When they go, what happens when they go in US? What happens when they go here, there, everywhere? What happens? They interact with locals. They make relations with them. They are their friends, they are their relatives. Marriages happen, then kids happen, right? All these things happen. When these things happen, state cannot control families. State cannot control, right? I am going to say and be right very cliche here, but state cannot control love, right? Right, I'm not going to be a sarcastic person here, and I am not going to say anything out of the order, but you must have heard about Sachin and his right, Sachin, Lappusa Sachin, that meme, Seema Haidar and Sachin. Seema Haidar is from Pakistan, Sachin is an Indian from Bihar. They fall in love. Interaction is not between state, interaction is between people, right? They fall in love on PUBG, right? All games, they fall in love on PUBG. They get married, they have, right, they have kids, they have 3 or 4 kids already. When such things happen, state cannot control interaction, right? State cannot control interaction. I have a relative who is settled in USA, who has Chinese spouse, now 3 nations are involved here. Out of 3 nations, who was able to stop that marriage? None. This is what post Westphalian world order want to say, that the world order becomes society centric. State capacity to interact and stop interaction goes down, right? Goes down. State capacity to control interaction goes down, and concept of global citizenship emerge, right? If you have gone through your polity, you know this concept of overseas citizen of India, right? OCI card holders, not citizen of India, but overseas citizen of India, right? Some people have descent from India. Some people apply for it. Overseas citizen of India, right? That person is citizen of USA, but if that person has OCI card holder, that person can come to India. That person can come to India, reside here. It is easy for them for rest of their lives, right? They're practically Indians, but they cannot vote. They don't have some agriculture landholding rights. Otherwise, they're practically Indians, right? This is concept of double citizenship. Not double citizenship. I'm sorry, India does not have double citizenship. Global citizenship, right? Slip of tongue. Global citizenship. Right? This is the idea, right? When this interaction, when this became extremely complex, when this interaction became complex, the nature, the nature interaction web model, Cobweb model. What is a cobweb? What is a cobweb? Cobweb is Cobweb is not solid model, right? Cobweb is not solid model. What is cobweb, right? What is cobweb? Cobweb is not solid. It is not like solid balls, right? Like solid billiard ball. If you have, if you have seen spider's nest in your house, right? If you don't clean your house for a long time, you will find spider's cobweb, right? In cobweb there is the spider catches its prey and all those things, so that is cobweb, right? That is cobweb. I know I will not be able to draw it, right? But remember that and try to understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to draw it. I will not make an effort to draw it because I will draw absolute bullshit. So cobweb is basically interaction between state which is extremely complex, right? Like spider's web, which is very complex. In cobweb model, number one, interaction is very complex, and in cobweb model, state is neither only nor most dominant nor most dominant actor in state is neither only nor most dominant actor in international politics. Then who are will try to understand from the next lecture. From the next lecture, right? But before shifting to next lecture, I also have to finish one more thing, right? Also have to finish one more thing, right? How to study international politics, right? How to study international politics. We have explained models of international politics. We have studied models of international relations. One is billiards ball, other is cobweb. How to study international politics is a should we do in the next lecture? We can do in the next lecture. Yes, we should do in the next lecture because it will connect to the later topics very easily. Okay, we'll start models or methods to study international relations from the next lecture. I hope this helped. We'll start from the next lecture.